Testing one, two, three. Testing one, two, three. Hey there, Urbanites. They usually say Bravehearts first, huh? So, Urbanites, Bravehearts, Coach Mad Hatters. I wonder if this message is going to be specifically for the Urbanites. We're going to play with the Paulina Tarot. I have no script. We are going to freestyle this and just see what comes out. Um, this is honestly an impromptu, something I very rarely have had the chance thus far to experience. But we're going to see how this goes. Um, I have some information with regards to purpose discovery that I want to share. And since I was already playing with the cards, why not see what comes out, right? Okay, so first things first, love and light to all those that find themselves tussling and toggling with a new style of existence. Just because you tussle or you toggle or you are challenged to shift paradigms, recontour the details of your day to day, does not mean you will not end up within the realms of satisfaction or that you will never reach that moment in time, that wrinkle in time when you are authentically pleased with you and yours and the strides that you all have taken to get wherever you're going. The historical rundown is being dismantled. It's being tossed out the fucking window. And the call of duty to courageously go back to the drawing board and pull forth that which you honestly desire is where we are right now. A conversation with Terry a couple shucks, not even an hour ago. Well, yeah, about an hour and a half ago. Um, we were talking about this highly unique liminal space and how those that would consider themselves big employers, because the rundown is being thrown out, there aren't any specific rules to this right now. And some are using this time to honestly take stock and inventory of how they were disseminating work, engaging with their employees, and giving it a good go with the restructuring of their organizations and operations. Some are not. Some are shaking their ass. They are trying to get away with all sorts of things. They are being creeps about the specialized scheduling and are attempting to overwork and underpay. We notice that most of what's being broadcast on mainstream news outlets is more about phase one, two, and three of folks being social. And then we have those that want to criticize the efforts to sustain some level of economic structuring. No one is talking about, or at least we have not, or let me just say me. I can't speak for Terry. We don't talk about everything, even though we come very close. So I don't think I've checked in with him with regards to if he's run into anything. So I'll say I have not come across any conversations that are talking about rephasing the employment scene. What is being dealt with regards to folks getting back to work and minimizing the financial ripples outside of governmental stimulus. And so if we were to stay along those lines, I understand why I am speaking to the urbanites first and foremost. When you think about a chessboard, think about chessboard placements. Think about where the knights and the bishops are placed and what they mean to the inner court of the board. What it is that they are standing in the gaps to defend and protect. First and foremost, they protect the queen and the king. And I put the queen first on purpose, seeing as that she's the only piece on the board that can go where she wants, how she wants, with whom she wants. And I don't mean that in no malice, hanky panky type of way. We're talking all respect and reciprocity here. Oftentimes, I wonder about the stewardship of the queens that honestly know that every move that they make and their decision making, processing, and quality ripples and affects many, even those that they may know nothing about. I had to learn it the hard way. So we just going, and I know I sound very serious, as if the mood hadn't lifted from yesterday and everything's still heavy. It's not. Um, so we're gonna try. I'm gonna try to direct a little fun in this. But once again, I ask for your patience because the overall energy dealing with me is still a bit weighty. And I don't want to shun that or ignore it, act like it doesn't exist. It very much does. But in the same vibe, within the same vibe, I think there's some fun to be had. So, 'tis the season for to dance like nobody's watching. Several times I have made mention that within the realms of psychology, I lean more to the Jungian side of things versus the Freudian side of things. Now, that's not to say that I know everything that is tangoing inside the realms of psychology. I do not, nor do I want to. But what I have gathered thus far, I find myself understanding better, and when applying it to my practical senses, it makes a lot of sense. Even if it's uncommon sense, it makes a lot of sense to me. One of the things that I find the most fascinating is this thing called Jungian Authentic Movement. They are workshops where folks gather. Y'all know the dog's about to. Do I need to pause this? Should I pause this? And let them, because they rile up and then they simmer down. I'm going. You all hold the line. One moment. One moment. Okay. Gonna try it again. Let's roll with it. So the let me find my space again. Jungian Authentic Movement Workshops. Folks get together and they dance to simplify it. But it's more than that. So I am going to read a little bit from this information that I received. And I'm trying to see if I can find out which list I pulled this from, but I don't see it right now. But if I come upon it, of course, I'll let you know. So, um, the Jungian movement summary opens up and it says, there is a vitality, a life force, a quickening that is translated through you into action. And because there is only one of you in all time, this expression is unique. And if you block it, it will never exist through another medium and be lost, meaning no one moves like you within side the unique paradigms that is you. Um, the sum of the perceptional parts is you. And so when the vitality that is called rhythm and flow permeates and begins to speak to your senses, the body starts to move. And all depending on if there's a beat or whatever it is that it do, like the body really starts to do what it's going to do, come to find out there's actual sacred lineage in the ability to move the body. There's actually psychological commodity in the ability to move the body. Go figure, right? So I want to see if I can just pull from this summary um, to lay the foundation for this impromptu. And as I said, I have no idea where this is going. I'm following the intuitive urge to get on and record and see what unfolds. So it says, whenever anyone asks why I'm so gung ho about astrology and incorporating it into movement workshops, I refer to this quote. For me, the horoscope is a genius geometrical map outlining very intricate potentials of each individual psyche, a psychic blueprint. My love affair with astrology only grew deeper as my interests expanded into the realm of shi- depth, depth psychology, beginning with Freud and then quickly leading to my lifelong obsession with Carl Jung. Many of my heroes, including Jackson Pollock and Martha Graham, had a Jungian analyst during the peak of their career. Jungian analysis is not about fixing people, but rather unearthing each person's authentic potential. By undertaking the long and arduous journey to the authentic self, often lying dormant beneath layers of a socially acceptable persona, parental complexities, and darker shadow material that many of us don't dare touch with a 10-foot pole, we can discover our own gold. So I had this thing that earned me the name the Golden Wildling. Because for a long time, inside of my back then Christian motif, I always found myself on the wretched side of the story. So much so that it began to compromise my confidence. And I wasn't exactly sure what that was about, seeing as that most of my childhood, my confidence was already mangled. So by the time I got to my mid 20s, I called myself patchworking the pieces of me, but in the depictions and translations of the biblical canon, or the one that the churches have, the version that the churches have, the pulpit never rendered me a foundation that I could build upon. Now, as I often say, I usually don't speak in malice. I speak in reference. I speak my truth. Um, and within that truth, I am allowed to feel about it the way I feel about it. But because certain things get put up into the public domain and folks don't have proper context, it can get easily misconstrued and lost in transaction or lost in translation what it is that is authentically being said. With that, I'll say that not until I began to tap into just the basics of psychology, mainly around characteristics, trying to find me somewhere else in print where I wasn't such the wretched demon, and I'm not being sarcastic. I feel more in tune with a Tim Burton than I do an Alexander the Great. Like there is this weirdness to my Saturnine nature that I went and buried for the sake of wanting to be approved by those who I was approving or endorsing or finding some type of likeness correlating. But what I began to find out just in conversation with myself that it was a lot of weight I was carrying around by not allowing me to be me. And that in order for me to belong, I had to shut off some things and suppress some things and completely shun and dismiss other things. Movement was one of them. And I don't make funny with this, but sometimes it is a bit funny of how the body responds to certain music. I love to dance because I am considered an urbanite in nature, meaning that I'm more hood than I am suburban. Go-go has always been a part of my fabric. And if you're not sure what go-go is, it is a Congo-based rhythmic kind of music that incorporates the melodies of horns and actually, I want to say I haven't met a instrument yet that was not part of a go-go compilation. The latest thing that's been odd to me is the mixture of go-go and urban jazz. So, to be inside of a church setting, to um, lead Bible study, be part of the usher board, and have to have this line of separation between what your body will do naturally and innately when it hears go go to realizing you standing around your Christian compadres. So it's like, how do you reconcile that? Like, true authenticity would be to get your boogie on because that's the way you naturally feel when the music hits you, right? But because of all the conditioning and all of the indoctrination that goes along with religious components, it very much will shine you in the most heathenist light. Because, yeah, like it is, go go is very seductive and it is a very passionate, very intriguing, elusive, insatiable type of rhythm. Now, without going completely down that rabbit hole, I'm going to bring it back to say that when I began to tap into the specifics of my characteristics from a psychological standpoint, especially a Jungian psychological standpoint, I began to understand the tussle between accepting your authentic self and showing up with a mask or two, or suppressing parts of your nature so that you may fit in. I don't think anyone knows this better than the urbanite. And when I say knows anyone knows this better, I'm talking about the three categories that I always address when I get up here: the Braveheart, the urbanite, and the Coach Mad Hatter. So the Braveheart is similar to that of the film or the storyline where most often they are oppressed and they still find their way to their authentic voice and expression, and they unapologetically speak when they are intuitively urged to do so. The urbanite, on the other hand, is the one that walks this sacred journey from lead based situations into golden enlightenment. And because I study in specialty that particular journey, that's what has earned me the name the Golden Wildling, because I have my wild side. I'm learning to embrace it unapologetically. But I'm also documenting so that I may share discoveries around the therapeutic value of that. There is goldenness when one can take all of its heavy, weighty, tumultuous shadow likeness and apply it with scholarship and wisdom and lessons, especially that can be found inside of what a lot of folks would call the academics from the School of Hard Knocks, or the the I'm losing my thought. Hang on. Um ah okay, so we'll just stick with the School of Hard Knocks. But there was another one, and it was like right there. Um but the unofficial academics, but valuable just the same, invaluable even to the unofficial scholar, the unofficial orator, the grapevine griots. It got to the point where I used to wave this banner that made it very clear that just because you are not branded with a university styled education does not mean you're ignorant or one without knowledge. The jailhouse lawyer is, and the streetwise scholar, they are the qualifiers of an urban dynamic that the Jungian theory says is archetype, is blueprintable characteristics that carry more weight than other characteristics. Like it's the leader in personality, emotionality characteristics. So, by undertaking the long and arduous journey to the authentic self, often lying dormant beneath layers of a socially acceptable persona, parental complexities, and darker shadow material that many of us don't dare touch with a 10-foot pole, we can discover our own gold. We can discover our own golden enlightenment. But many of us don't want to open up the Pandora's box of unconsciousness until it comes knocking. The movie Us, yeah, they come knocking and want to set your ass ablaze because you're ignoring it. You are ignoring the important components of your authentic self, and at some point it gets fed up. Go back to reading. But rarely is ignorance bliss these days. Addictions, breakups, and other dramatic catastrophes force us to wake up and take a deeper look at ourselves, what we want, and where we are going in our lives. Imagine combining the feeling you get at the end of a really good yoga class or a really good cabaret, never done yoga, with the feeling of being at your favorite rock concert. Okay, so maybe I jumped ahead. So, at your favorite go go concert, only with the ability to dance full out to your favorite songs. And this will give you the feeling, and this, okay, let me slow down. And this will give you the feeling of Jungian authentic movement workshops. The music is selected by current planetary forces so that the song choices resonate with what is happening both personally and collectively. We are all longing for an experience with a numinous, a quality of feeling we are in the presence, a quality of feeling we are in the presence of something greater than ourselves. We hope that something inspires a feeling of being totally alive, in awe, or in the presence of something powerfully sacred. When this feeling is lacking, we feel restless, bored, unfulfilled, and crucified by the feeling that nothing is changing. When life feels devoid of meaning, it's important to figure out what archetypes are not being fed and resolve to discover new ways to feed them. Many times, but not as frequently as when I was younger, when the knees weren't so tender, I was given many chances to dance to the point where I began to utilize it as meditation. There have been plenty times where folks would that I've never seen, don't know, never met will walk up to me and quite candidly be surprised at how I move because I am a big girl. Make way for the big girl. Now, those are my family. Now, I think I've mentioned my blood brother, 10 years older. He's a professional DJ. He's been DJing since my high school days, and I'm damn near 50, so he's tenured. There was a time when I would only go to his parties. And yeah, it was a I don't know. Yeah, he my favorite. Okay, so it was what it was. I knew I was gonna get my boogie on, and I didn't. It wasn't a gamble. I'm not a good gambler, so it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't a hit or miss. And it's to this day, me and my siblings, and many within our immediate family, we say we are so spoiled when it comes to DJs because we're hard on other DJs. If you can't make the party thump, yeah, like literally will stand in front of the DJ booth. I mean, of course you won't have your hand, but just like, what are you doing? Do I need to come back there and offer you up some selections? So we take our moving abilities, our ability to move very seriously. Um, I believe many of us were dancing in the womb um, because music has always been all around us, within us, permeating all through us. So when I found out about this and realized, or really actually was broadsided by the facts surrounding the psychological therapeutic nature of music and movement, it changed my entire approach to what I consider to be therapy. Um, in just this moment, it brought back to me the movement meditation aspect. I had allowed that to drop from my the forefront of my mind. And so I'm glad that has reemerged. It gives me something to look forward to, and I know that it falls in the category of a butterfly effect. Something very something that seems get my words together. It appears small, but it actually has like these gigantic effects. I know with this thing called social distancing that we are behind record numbers in our magic to gather and commune because this is the season for it. Springtime brings forth a lot of gathering, attraction, and complementary forces to mix and mingle and meet and greet. Okay, we're gonna take those. Let's see what we got. Okay, let's put them over and see what we got. Hmm. Five of Pentacles, Seven of Cups, Page of Cups. I think through my novice lens that we would do good to put some type of rhythmic movement in our life so that we can offset the dilemmas of feeling left out or the feeling of not belonging. I'm going to be pushing um, with a grander concentration the notions around putting music into your daily space, uh, even if it's softly playing in the background. To have folks begin to adopt that as an invaluable source to um, butterfly effective healing. To begin to approach in that manner will allow us more options to choose from. Now, remember, this particular card, the Seven of Cups, can get a little tricky when it comes to the smorgasbord of options that we could possibly have to choose from. So I warn against the scatterbrain or the mindless selections. What I'm hoping for is that we will hone into that which calls us, urges us, pulls us, attracts us, and we move in that manner without ignoring the options, but also without getting caught up in the magnitude of the possibility. But I'm going to read from the book so that we may have a solid idea of what's going on because I'm still in major scholarship here, which I'm quite proud of actually. Inside the book of the Seven Habits of Highly Effective People, and I'm looking to see where is my book. It's probably back there somewhere. Hang on, you know what I'm gonna do? As I always, I'm gonna pause it, and I'm gonna get my book. I have something I want to read to you. Okay, I want to show you this, and as I've often said, this is the way I do all of my books that I. So when you get a book that you are learning from, and trust me when I say, for the Urban Knight, for the Braveheart, for the Coach Mad Hatter, Textbooks are not university bound for us, but it does not mean we don't have textbooks. Okay? So, this is my textbook. And because I am an sole advocate of self based learning, self teaching learning, simultaneously serving as your teacher as well as your student, I am my teacher and I am my student. So, I go to the bookstore, I get a book. I put my own tabs in my books so that I can hone into quickly things that point that oh, I'm losing stuff. Hold on. That was there for a reason. I don't even know if it dropped from there. Okay, I'll look at it another time. I'll figure it out. But I tab and I write in my books. I highlight and I make it easy to find what I come across. I very rarely, especially books like this, get them to read once, which is what is suggested here. But I was doing that before I even realized it was a thing. Okay, so on page 68, and because this portion of the book is so monumental, I actually have a rubber band here because I have found myself referring to this particular page quite a lot in the last 90 days. I'm going to just give you just this because this is what has shifted. It shifted and not necessarily shifted into a new paradigm, but it like switched gears inside of an already running paradigm. And 25th edition, 25th anniversary edition. That's important for now. For yeah. As you progress to deeper levels of understanding and implementation, you can go back time and again to the principles contained in each habit and work to expand your knowledge, skill, and desire. I would suggest that you shift your paradigm to your own involvement in this material. I would suggest that you shift your paradigm of your own involvement in this material from the role of learner to that of teacher. Take an inside out approach and read with the purpose in mind of sharing and discussing what you learn with someone else within 48 hours after you learning it. I was intimidated by that the first time I read it. And remember, I told you that, and I think in the last portion of the Big Mama series, part three, I may mention that each time, oh, you can't see the sun. Each time I get a book, I date when I get it because it allows me to keep track for documentary purposes. Documentary is on the way. It's all about purpose, discovery, and intellectual portals, and all kinds of whimsical, magical, authentic self chasing, yeah, content and context. So, October 2017. And here's what the deal is with that. Maybe like, okay, so October 2017, like 2 months prior to Saturn had come on home back to Capricorn. And in between that time, somewhere, I'm reading my horoscope. Now, mind you, I think I may mention too in that series that I read several Capricorn and Virgo based horoscopes per day. And it's that's also become a curriculum in itself. I treat it as homeroom. Um, Whatever it is that resonates most often, especially if it strikes a chord, I put it in the journal. And not for divination purposes, but for self courtship purposes. Because I do know that I am highly affected by the energies and influences of the sun, the moon, the stars, and the planetary alignments. They honestly do affect me in ways beyond words. And only those where the with those influences affect them too will you know what I'm talking about. If you're not affected, you're not affected. I don't say this to convince you to be affected. But if you are, then allow me to plug here in this time and space the importance of getting a journal that helps you keep track of some things. You will better understand your unique ebb and flows, seasons, and cycles. So, October 2017, the big hoopla about Saturn returning to Capricorn. And so it was saying, like over the next 3 years, some major things are going to be going down. Like, even at that time in 2017, the messages were strong saying that there is major stuff that's going to be going down within the next 3 years, especially while especially while Saturn is active in Capricorn. You're going to need to be aware of this, and maybe sharpen this, or gain skills here, or begin mastering this, or pay attention to this. And even back then, it started saying, get serious about the things that you authentically care about. Latch on to and begin maneuvering toward that which makes you come alive. Um, and I'm trying to find a good way to say this because I really want to say and drop those that mean you no fucking mind and pick up those that do. So I said it. I was trying to, So yeah. So having all of that in my mind and then getting this book and reading this, and I'm just like, okay, how do I embrace the challenge of approaching material that I would be transmuting and speaking about within 48 hours? Now, the book itself, I was not unfamiliar with, but reading this book for the first time in my mid 20s hit differently reading it when I first got it now in my mid 40s. So from my mid 20s to my mid 40s, 2017, I had not had much frequency with the content inside this book. And what makes it so interesting is that when I went to the bookstore, I was not planning on getting this. I was actually in there looking for something else, and it was out of stock. And I get this thing, or I have this thing, when my mind says we're getting a new book, it wants a new book. So I was a little bummed out that I had to order, which would come to me another time, and it's just like, okay, so what are we gonna do? You want a book? Which honestly makes me believe that that was the day it was meant for this book to return to me, um, and that the journey was going to be paramount. Paramount. So that's that. So, dealing with the feelings of not belonging, and on the other side of the spectrum, with having all these choices and needing to somehow assure yourself that the choices you are making are going to actually be at the optimal for the return on the invested decisions, and how all things will begin to blend together for the greater good of where you want to go, what you want to do, and where you want to be, all while moving rhythmically. Okay, let's keep that clear. So, the Page of Cups. Because remember, okay, let me slow down for a minute. So, Five of Pentacles, feeling left out in the cold, or feeling left behind, or feeling as if you do not belong. Right. So loss, despair, hardship, abandonment, poverty, but at the end, rediscovering hope. I think somewhere in your moments of rhythmic movement, especially if you begin to treat it as a tool of meditation. When it was made mention in the article about opening Pandora's box, let's venture there for a moment. Pandora's box. Now remember, or if you are unfamiliar, let's recap. So Prometheus, which now in conventional settings is known to be Lucifer, the light bringer. According to mythological context, Prometheus is the one that made the inquiry to Zeus to have humans, to bring fire to the human race. Fire, aka passion. That fiery passion, that primal, untamed, highly creative, chaotic force that we now take for granted. Inside this storyline, Prometheus is, and of course, I'm giving you the hood, yeah, recap. Prometheus is like, yo, humans, hey, they need something. Like, they dying down there. They have no way to keep warm. They ran it eating raw meat. Like, we need something. So I was thinking that maybe you could grant them the gift of fire so that they can level up. Zeus said, nah. I ain't tripping off them. I ain't even, yeah, whatever. Prometheus was like, all right, whatever. He leaves out. Something hits him. Maybe Luna, the vibratory notion from the moon. Because, Luna, even though she is the representation of that which is hidden, she's still of emotional feminine energy. So she's going to love on the creations of this physical realm. That's just how she is. Big mama, she got love. She got big arms, and yeah, she'll lay a hug on you. So I like to say that she urged Prometheus and say, so you just gonna leave without going a second time to see if you can persuade him in any kind of way? The humans are literally living in despair. They need fire. They need passion. They need a way to manifest. Prometheus like, you know what, Big Mama, you're right. But when he gets back, things are still a little wicked. So what does Prometheus do? He steal it. He cop him the light, and he roll out, and he gifts the humans with the passion and the brewing core of fire. Now, figuratively and literally, he gifts them with fire. So now they're able to um, sit around a campfire, get warm, cook their food, whatever else that the benefactors of fire bring. They begin to evolve as a result of being blessed with this internal source. Zeus get mad, and like any other male dominant, cranky ass, stingy ass motherfucker, he rounds up the gods, and this is when it's said that Pandora came to be. And so instead of going to Prometheus, Prometheus has a brother, Epimetheus. And make sure I'm saying his name right. Prometheus tells his brother, yo, don't accept anything Zeus sends you. Like, he's out to get me because I stole his fire, gave it to the humans. So he real agitated with me right now. So I'm pretty sure something might come up where he gonna try to get to me through you. So don't accept nothing that Joker's sending. Like, you could do it out. Prometheus had no idea that he was sending pretty Pandora with with the luscious punani. Had no clue, right? Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Let me just make sure. Let me make sure I'm saying Prometheus' brother's name correctly. Um, hang on. Let me make sure. Let me make sure. So, so Pandora and Prometheus. Okay. No, this ain't it. Hold on, y'all. Oh, come on. Epimetheus, that's his name. Okay, so we tell his brother, like, come on, like, you got to be serious about this because he angry, right? So lo and behold, Pandora ass show up, and Epimetheus, he like, listen, Prometheus, I understand where you coming from, but hey, she was gifted to me by Zeus, and like, who's sitting in the back? Ain't gonna be me sitting in the back. So Pandora comes with this box. Inside this, she's given the instructions to not ever open the box. So, as the story goes, she falls victim to her curiosity, and so when she opens up the box, all of the plague, famine, and all of the most hideous ordeals in the non-physical world that could bring strife to the human being is released. She becomes very scared at all of the horrific vibe that she was getting off of when all of that shit was being released. She hurries up and she closes it, and the last thing that's left inside the chest is hope. Somehow, some way, as time, and I don't think it was a lot of time that lapsed, but she finally opens back up the chest, and hope emerges. Most often, when the story is told, they always direct the attention to the fact that Pandora's curiosity is what unleashed all of the horrors on the human. No one ever mentions how several of the horrific entities escaped or was released. But hope is strong enough to counteract every last one of them, literally dismantle and disseminate. That one with hope inside its heart can weather any storm, attract any type, any kind, any quality of any, any, any. That sounded like inequality. No, any, A-N-Y, quality of innovation and creativity. As long as you don't lose hope, absolutely anything is possible. One of my most grand examples is the story that made up the film Hidden Colors. That's all them black folk had rolling up in NASA every day was hope. Even though they got treated like shit, totally not going down there. Oh, lots of rabbit holes presenting themselves in this session. I'm not going to do it. But they had hope. With that hope, the calculations came through, and so called supposedly, we went up into space, right? But either way, whether there is honest vetability to the actual launching of the space apparatuses, um, fact still remains. History left a grand imprint around those that were showing up to NASA to figure out this monumental, seemingly impossible feat to transcend atmospheres. And I think the same thing goes now, and even more so directly to the urbanite, because you are on the ground, you are within the trenches, you are cultivating the grapevine. You will have many options to choose from, but not all of them are yours. Not all of them will even blossom into the future that is yours. So I urge you to be very picky in your choosing. I urge you to take time out and go against the grain that says you're insane if you talk to yourself. You know the reason why they made talking to yourself so unpopular? Because the more you do, the more you will cultivate and mature your own mind, the less likelihood that you will be manipulatable and controlled. Your mind and your heart will utterly and forever belong to you. Talk about the kryptonite to the status quo, right? So I urge you to talk to yourself as often as an and as frequent. That's not right. Sorry, it's not right with that. What? As frequently as you damn well please. So, real quick, Seven of Cups. Too many choices will gain you an illusion that might have you going down the wrong path. So, be mindful of conflicting desires. Be mindful of conflicting desires. Be mindful of the 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 greedy pocket that says that you can have uh, way more than you need. But I am going to say this. There's something about this whole catchphrase that says, you want your cake and eat it too. I'm not talking in those realms. And I often make a joke about that. Do you see me? I love cake. Yeah, in fact, I love cake. Why would I want a fucking cake that I could not eat? Who does not want their cake and eat it too? It's the silliest shit that seems to catch on. I mean, it catches on like wildflowers and fire, and people really regurgitate that shit like it makes sense. You want your cake and eat it too. Well, who wouldn't? Why would I even want cake that I can't eat? Moving forward, shout out to House Ocean. Okay, so the Page of Cups, the Page of Cups, the Page of Cups, the Page of Cups. Good news, a creative venture, new perspectives, making dreams a reality, poetic and artistic, enthusiastic and optimistic, romantic. There's nothing more romantic with somebody you dance with. Talk about a trifold. You can meditate, you can appreciate, resonate, you can therapeutically make the joints more pliable, and you can have a romantically okay authentic encounter. Even if you dance with yourself, it could be a moment of romance. But I ain't gonna get into that right now either. I'm going to tap into this last piece because, as I've said before, I can talk for hours, and that's not what I plan to do today. Okay, so I want to talk real quick about the ebbs and flows of the the commonly known chakra centers. So there are seven, but I am tapping into scholarship that is speaking about nine as well as 22. And if you are a scholar of Brother Bobby Hammett, he speaks of 72 chakras. But that is well advanced. I'm moving my way to that. But for now, we will stick to the seven. And so at the base of the spinal is chakra 7, which is the root. So the base is 7 and it works to 1. Hang on, so let's see. So counting down from 7 to 1, the root chakra. And then next, which is red. And then the next up is the sacral chakra, which is orange, which is right below the belly button. And then just above the belly button is the solar plexus, which is yellow. And then the heart chakra, which is green. And then the throat chakra, which is blue. The third eye, which I call the first eye chakra, which is indigo. And then the crown chakra, which is uh, purple or violet. Now, there is another one that the name is not coming to mind right now because it's a newly um, chakra that I'm getting into, but it's more of an iridescent, effervescent, more like the crystal selenite, which is like a cloudy white, but it permeates. Um, so it's like the crown chakra, and then there's this 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 iridescent force field that loops back into the feet and up and loops like a fountain back into the feet, up and loops, and it's in all directions. So it sprouts out. And remember those lamps? What is the name of the lamp? The fiber optic, where it was all these little tentacles and the lamp, and it came out and all the light, and then some of them spun, and it went from green to blue. And okay, the ones that really caught my eye were the all white ones, where and it just looked like this fluffy. Um, okay, I don't know where my words at. I can't get it, but that's what I think about when I imagine my iridescent force field from the chakra just above the crown. Also, when I view um, my chakra centers, when they are highlighted with the when it's pulsating the energy of the color, I often like to think of the Statue of Liberty. So inside my mind, my non-physical structure um, is like a, and I know I'm probably going to be revealing way more than I need to, but I am an Imagineer. So here's the deal, right? In full capacity, the Statue of Liberty could house as a place of residence for certain beings, right? So my non physical structure is of a galactic size Statue of Liberty, and it's treated like the Ministry of Magic in the Harry Potter series. So the actual crown of the Statue of Liberty is suites where my invisible beings and counsel and guides, that's where they are housed. And it's like the outward looking of the crown are windows where they actually can see not necessarily what I see, but they are able to take view of my physical spaces when I activate them to do so. So I know they say that the eyes and the ears work as the window of the soul. I also think that the slots within my crown does as well. All right, whatever. So I believe that that is where we are going to um, leave it. Maybe we can get an oracle real quick to, for good measure. Oh, we're gonna leave it right here. The drum. Dream and journey. Oh my gosh. Go get somewhere and dance, okay? Even if you are not considered a dancer, just like turn the music on and just move. Like just, even if you just, yeah, just let it do this and close your eyes and become one with it and just do that. And don't do it for me, do it for you. So let's see. Dream and journey. Journey inwards to uncover insights and information that will be important for your path. Then follow the guidance. In shamanic in shamanic traditions, in all four corners of the world, the drum is recognized as the main tool used by medicine men and women to direct their will and aid meditation. The drum beat can become hypnotic and send those listening into an altered state that can allow them to journey to the spiritual realms and meet their guides. When the drum card appears in a reading, there are opportunities for you to dream or to bring an inner vision into reality. You are very connected to the other worlds at this time. The wisdom and intelligence of the earth and her magic surrounds you. The drum, which echoes the sound of Mother Earth's heartbeat, has cleared the cobwebs and dust from your inner vision. What you have seen in your dreams and inner vision is not imagination but guidance, particularly if it has been coming to you repeatedly and has the potential to become reality. Dreams come true. Know it and live it. And as I have been saying many times inside of many occasions, one day we shall dance. So allow things to unfold with the knowledge that it's time to move. It's time to get up and jam. Thank you. Thank you for joining me. It's been fun. It's still nice outside. What time is it? It's going on 6:30, January 8th, 2020. If you have a divine counterpart, you don't even have to leave the living room, baby. You don't even need to leave the bedroom. And just see what that be like. Just see what it be like. Until next time, I wish you well.